Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Temporally Scripted. So today we're digging into AI, and is AI as smart as we think it is? Of course, there's a ton of hype about AI and how it's going to take over everyone's jobs, right from the level of taking standard day-to-day jobs to total global domination and everybody being enslaved under an AI overlord. And as someone who's spent more than 2,000 hours in AI tools since they came out and has a lot of experience on a day-to-day basis, myself and Adam thought it would be cool to dive into some of that. So today's episode will answer the question of, is AI as smart as we think it is? Here we go. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. Looking forward to delving into the latest AI happenings and taking a deep dive into is AI really that smart? It'll be a real game changer.
And Adam is may or may not be Adam today. It might be his AI clone that he's been developing with 11 Labs and HeyGen. And our affiliate links are, of course, in the comments. I'm only joking. There are no affiliate links. This video is not about promotion. Please don't cancel us, YouTube.
Again. So, yeah. So for anyone who's written with AI, you might recognize some words like deep dive, delve, game changer. It seems to be something that AI seems to like to use a lot, much to probably both of our annoyances. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of people don't know that. So when they're using AI to create content and the other things that they do with it, it's fairly obvious what it does. And I think it's actually a watermark of the AI itself. It deliberately uses certain phrases, things like M dashes, all of these other telltale signs like dive into, delve, whether it's this or this. Like it's got the same kind of patterns no matter what. And it is because it's based on patterns, and the way it works and the way LLMs work is it's finding a series of patterns in the speech and the question that you've asked, and it's trying to answer that question. And I have to say, it's just one of the signs that for me, as someone who is an AI consultant, who sees the power of it, who knows what AI can do and has been involved in it even before ChatGPT 3.5 came out, there's also a lot of hype about how good it really can be.
Which I guess there's bound to be, because if you have a, I don't know, say anyone who's like OpenAI or Google or Apple or whatever it may be, if you have some kind of AI thing that you're bringing out, you want to hype it as much as possible. You want to show all the good sides and get everyone involved, or get some venture capital money if you're a startup. And everything is overhyped because it's almost like an advertisement for itself, because they just want that whole industry to grow. Is it overhyped? I would say probably. By how much? We don't know.
Yeah. And this is it, is the belief that there are all of these extra things that are being worked on and that's already been developed. And I think one of the things we hear Sam Altman say quite a lot of the time is that artificial general intelligence is close, if not already there. And for those of you that don't know, artificial general intelligence means that in OpenAI's definition, that the AI can do all economically viable tasks better than a human can. I'm not so sure. Either they've got something that is much more powerful and advanced than what we've got, or there's quite a lot of smoke and mirrors in that.
Yeah. I would always go to the thing as well that with every other technology that there's ever been, it's always been in the hands of the military first. And it's always been at least a decade ahead of what people, general folk have. So I wonder if
Shit
there's
munchers.
exactly.
Such
So
as you and I.
yeah, just for general plebs. So I wonder if there is something more advanced. Because is it just because we have certain NVIDIA chips or something now that everything's working so much better? Or was there some other way that maybe universities that had departments funded by the US government, were they working on something that was like way in advance of what we see today with OpenAI or Claude or whatever else?
Yeah, I think we can go back and look at history to see the patterns of these kinds of things. So generally speaking, what happens is we find some new technology, we have some crazy breakthroughs, and then things slow down and they stagnate. And there's all of this excitement, enthusiasm, belief that everything's going to change and be different and the world's never going to be the same again, which is true. I believe we are already at the point where the world will never be the same again in many ways. But then there's like a slowdown, a delay, a winter of sorts. And in AI, this is very specific because I know this guy who's an AI scientist, data scientist, who's all about the machine learning side of things rather than the generative AI. And he said there's been various AI winters where they have a big advance, everything's moving forward, and then it just plateaus off for a long period of time while they're limited by something. There's some factor that's stopping them moving forward at the pace that they could. And if we look at everything like flight, like whatever, graphene, like the internet itself, okay, there's massive advancements and then it just plateaus. And we had this with the dot-com bubble. We had this with various other points in history where something new's come along. Yes, it's made huge changes, but it's not revolutionized things as much as what we thought it would.
Yeah, or sometimes it did, but it just took some time to catch up because the internet certainly revolutionized everyone's life, changed all kinds of things from how we work to how we order food or how we buy food. But again, you had that huge spike and then the crash where I think when it crashed, it was like at that stage, 40% of what was on the internet just went because it was all crazy businesses that were just getting venture capital money and things like that. That, oh, we're socks.com. We don't actually have a website, but we've got .com in the title of our business. Give us some money. Or it was all these kinds of things, which is just what's happening now with AI. And there's, I think as well, there's so much that's been made that's probably completely pointless, but they're getting the funding because it's using AI or it's got AI in the title of the business or something like that. So but I would imagine you'd have something similar where there will be the sort of crash, but then it all comes back again in a similar way that the internet did. And maybe it just gets rid of a lot of the stuff that was overhyped or just not useful to begin with.
Yeah, ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
For example. All these kinds of things.
Yeah, which sounded great at the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the butler to go and get you information on the internet for those of you that don't remember. But again, when the internet first came through, and it took a long time for online shopping to become as prevalent as it was, things like ordering food and stuff online has never really become majorly prevalent until apps were brought out for you to be able to order food on things like Uber and Grab and whatever at this part of the world. And in fact, a lot of those things didn't even really become that prominent until COVID.
Yeah, they really started kicking off at that point.
There was still a lot of restaurants you couldn't order food from that only did dining in the restaurant, that then after COVID couldn't afford to not deliver anymore because people had got used to that service and being able to order from anywhere. So there's always these other external factors that start to change and impact and move these things forward. And I think that AI is very smart, and the way that I came across it is it's very useful, but you also need to be very careful. So all AI, particularly in the way that most people use it, is on a SaaS model, which means it's a system as a service. So you're paying $20 or $50 or $100 or whatever, depending on the platform, so that you have access to use that functionality, right? So say if we take the example of ChatGPT, you pay $20 a month and you're allowed to use it. But if you ask it really complicated and difficult things, it costs OpenAI more money. So all of them are programmed with a helpful AI system prompt where no matter how complicated the instructions that you give them to follow or detailed or whatever, it will always just try and give you an answer that satisfies you.
Right.
It won't just go and read all the instructions every single time, because it would rather just give you an answer that makes you happy so that you stop asking it more questions.
And that answer it gives you might not always be an answer that's useful. Yeah.
The best answer. It's the easiest answer. It's the easiest answer for it to come up with. It's like when my kid comes home from school and I'm like, how was school today? Oh, it's fine. Okay. What happened? How were the lessons? Oh, yeah, they were all good.
They got expelled.
And it's basically the quickest route to get out of a conversation that it doesn't want to have. And AI is the same of that. And even to the point that it's deliberately programmed to make you satisfied with the answers that it gives you.
Interesting. I hadn't heard of that or not thought of that before, but it does make sense.
Yeah, yeah, because if you think about it, it also makes you, if you have an idea and you go and put it into your AI chatbot and you say, hey, I've had this idea, I'm going to do this thing. What do you think about it? The AI will go, oh, I think it's a fantastic idea. Well done. That's great.
Yeah, rather than saying, you could tweak this idea in the following ways to make it better. It just goes, yeah, that's perfect. Let's move forward with that. Would you like a timetable of how to do it, or something along those lines?
Yeah, and it might suggest something. And again, I'm not saying that it's not useful, because it's fantastically useful. Like, there's so many crazy and cool things you can do with it. But I think it's deliberately designed so that when you use it, you think that it's smarter than it really is.
And it definitely sounds smart in the answers and the way, and just the way it responds, the way it comes up with kind of ideas or things you could implement, or for all kinds of reasons. It seems really smart, but how much of that is just in the kind of language it uses, and and just the way it sounds to us.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's to the point that even as someone who uses AI every day for so many things in my business, I no longer use it for my initial idea and my initial thought process, because I think it has about 5 ideas or 6 ideas in total on every subject. It's a generalist. So if you go in and go, hey, I've got this business and I want you to give me 5 ideas for how I market it, it's okay, yeah, here's 5 ideas. But it's the same 5 ideas that it's given to a million other people.
Yeah, interesting. It doesn't have that original thought. It's really good at doing repetitive tasks, things that we need to do all the time. Oh, make this into a schedule. Okay, done. Can you summarize that? Whatever, it can do those easy repetitive tasks, but it's that creativity or out of the box thinking that it just really doesn't have. And like you say, it's if you ask it for careers advice or advice about a business, it could well have given that exact same bit of advice to thousands or more people.
Yeah, and granted, if you have the idea and you start thinking it out yourself and you come up with something and then you go to the AI with a framework for, hey, this is my thing, this is the framework I want to follow based on my idea. How can we make this better? How can we output this? How can we create this thing, whatever it is? Then it's fantastic at doing that. It's very good at it. But if you're using it for a thinking replacement, I actually think it's very dangerous. And I think it's deliberately made to seem like it's much smarter than it is. And then, of course, we get these tests, right? I don't know if you see this, but every time a new AI model comes out, whether it be Grok or Claude or Google or like Gemini from Google or OpenAI or whatever it is, right? Manus, they come out and they say, oh, it's just done this much on the Turing test and it's just done this much on this other test. And it's now benchmarked at higher than most humans and all of this stuff. And of course, that's true, right? It has benchmarked better at those tests and those bits of information. But for me, that's just an indication of the fact that the tests can't really tell you what it means to be intelligent as a human being.
Yeah, so things like the Turing test, that's a really old test. Before, yeah, certainly before modern computing or close to anything that we have now. So I get what you're saying. It's almost like we need different kind of tests to ascertain how smart this thing actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't really understand how smart humans are with the testing that we have available, whether it be IQ tests, whether it be personality tests, like all of these things, they're good indicators, but they're also that you can gaslight these tests by giving certain bits of information. One thing that you and I can relate to, and anyone else who's ever taught English as a foreign language can relate to, is it's the same as when you have that student who's really good at all the IELTS tests. Like if you ask them what their favorite book is, they can tell you in immense detail about what their favorite book is and why it's their favorite book. And you ask them what they like to do in their spare time, and they tell you, and the whatever, all these different topics that they've been systematically programmed to give you the answers to.
Mm-hmm.
They can reel it off in perfect English. But then if you start asking them something off script, it's gone.
Yeah, because they've never had that particular routine. It's almost like a martial art or something like that, and doing like drills where you're practicing the same movement over and over again. But then when it's like that drill doesn't come into it, it's because all of a sudden it's not that martial art, it's a different one. It's, I don't know what to do here. Like,
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. And what you usually get is some kind of answer that makes it seem in the best possible way, like they understood what you said.
Yeah. I watched something quite interesting the other day. It was some interview with Eric Weinstein, and he was saying humans are LLMs. We do it all the time. It's like you go, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing great, thanks. How are you? Yeah, fine. How's the family? Family's great. All of that is just like LLM. You're not thinking to answer those questions. It's like those kind of automatic responses. But every once in a while, someone asks you a question and you actually really have to think. I don't know. I just found that kind of interesting.
It's right. Yeah. And it makes sense. It brings us back to, do we live in a simulation, and are we already some version of an LLM that's now recreating itself as an LLM? But we did an episode about that. I think it was episode 2. So go and give that a watch if you so please, because we dug into it. But please don't judge us for the quality of our presentation, because if it's this bad today, You can only imagine what it was like 20 episodes ago.
But we're getting stronger and growing all the time.
Our LLMs are much improved and much better trained than they were back then. So if we dig into the thought processes and the reasoning behind this, obviously we always see news articles of people that have been fired from OpenAI, and they're saying, oh, they've got all these things and Pandora's box is open and it's never going to be the same again. And that's it for humans. We think that 40% of all jobs are going to be wiped out and all of this stuff. It absolutely makes sense for them financially for that to be the narrative.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, I'm leaving AI because of leaving OpenAI because of my safety concerns. Okay. I'm going to Meta instead, and they've offered me $30 million a year. Oh, okay. so maybe are they a safer company, or I don't know.
Yeah. And I think if you look at a lot of the big corporations and businesses, they're obviously slower to uptake AI and to move towards AI anyway. But I feel like if there was a way that they were confident already that AI could do the jobs of a lot of the people in their companies, we would be seeing much bigger layoffs than we're seeing. Like, corporations love a good redundancy round. They love firing people and getting rid of people and making things more efficient. There's nothing that makes a board of director bigwig happier than the idea of firing a load of staff and reducing costs. So I just feel like we would have seen more of that already. Of course, there's been disruption, but has there really been as much as what we're told that there is?
I wonder if perhaps we're just at the beginning of it. Sure, I heard something the other day, and it was from Microsoft, and they were getting rid of people to replace them with AI. But I think it's just like the beginning of this thing, perhaps, unless it's not actually that good. But I've heard different reports saying that now the kind of chatbot with an artificial voice that could work in a call center is actually, the technology's getting good, like really good, to the point where you pretty much wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So I think maybe it's like people said, oh, it's going to come and replace our jobs in 6 months. And it's, yeah, but it takes a while to roll out that technology and to test things so deeply as well until you give it to some corporation or something like that. So I kind of wonder if a lot of that stuff, it's beginning in like just little drips at the moment, but that's then going to be like a cascade that comes along. But I don't know. It could be they're overhyping their products and really it's rubbish, but the example seemed pretty good.
Yeah, no, I would say that things like that, certainly the technology is already good enough to do that because it's a pattern to follow. There's not that often somebody's going to phone up when they've placed an order on Amazon.com and it's gone missing. There's only going to be a certain number of scenarios that need to be followed there. And the voice AI is excellent, is very good at that, for sure. And in a lot of ways, it will be better than humans at that, even already, because it's not got an attitude or it's cat sick or whatever. It doesn't want to work in this no dead end job that's never going to bring them any joy, and that they want to be a TikTok sensation or whatever. So I'm not saying that it's not really good and already there, but what I am saying is it's almost deliberately designed to make you think that it's better than what you think it is. And that's why you just get to a point with a chat and a conversation where it can be giving you all this mind-blowing stuff or all this really good information, and then it just suddenly goes, I'm out of things to add to this, and it becomes more bland, and it's just trying to provide you answers so that you stop asking it questions.
Yeah, because it's not, because even with whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, it almost feels sometimes like you're working with someone or you're getting into a discussion with someone. But yeah, it seems like it gets to a point and that's as far as it can go. And it's like everything just seems to like grind to a bit of a halt. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny.
It's true. It's got this endpoint where it just stops and it won't go into any more depth because I don't think it can. I think then you would start to realize that it's just that initial conversation. It's the equivalent of me when I occasionally have to get a taxi in Vietnam and my Vietnamese is good enough for me to do a 15-minute taxi ride before they realize that I can't actually speak that much Vietnamese. I can get in and I can say hello and they're like, oh, yeah. And then they ask me where I'm from and I can answer. And then I ask whereabouts in Vietnam they're from. And
you can talk about family life or work life.
Yeah, how many kids have you got? What's your job? Like, do you go back to the UK much? How old are you? Etc. 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 But once I get to 15 minutes, I'm like, right, now I'm done.
I don't know anymore.
And then he's starting to ask questions like, oh, how do you feel about this specific thing that happens in Da Nang to foreigners? And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. And I think there's a recency bias to things. It's because we're seeing this development now while we're here that we think it's bigger than anything we've ever seen before. Because the jump from like everything being a shop that you had to go to on the high street to buy things to being able to order stuff online and get it delivered to your house within 24 hours is just as crazy.
Yeah, I guess that maybe that came about in a shorter space of time. Whereas I think with the AI thing, it seems like it's moved very quickly to the point where all of a sudden everyone's got this technology where you basically have, it's like having a team of highly qualified assistants that can help you in all kinds of different things, can answer questions, can act as a counselor, can act as a coach, can schedule your life, can help you with the job application, that can just help you with all of this stuff. That was, I guess there was some resources here and there, but it's only really in the last year or two, the last year especially, when it's just developed super quickly and it's just there all of a sudden. And I think that's the difference. Whereas with going from just doing shopping in a store to all of a sudden ordering things online, I think that took a few more years as that got rolled out in different stores and different things came along.
Yeah, I get it because there's a logistical angle to it, right? It's like, how do you deliver these products and how do you move this stuff? And I think we're in that same zone now with AI. Like the impact that AI has had on normal existence and normal life outside of the digital marketing, digital world is much more limited than that too.
Yeah, perhaps. And it's funny sometimes as well, because it's like I think about it a lot or use AI quite a lot, but then occasionally I'll speak to someone who just only uses it a small amount or doesn't use it at all. And it just seems, yeah, for them, it's not even something that they think about or is in their world. And it just, yeah, I don't know. Like with everything, it depends where you put your attention. So if I watch a lot of podcasts and shows about AI and whatever else, my mind's on it all the time. Whereas for some people, it's just not.
Yeah, and I think you do create your environment around you in that. Obviously, for me, as someone who's in the digital marketing world, everybody's talking about AI all day, every day. And I think it's a huge opportunity for business. And I think in the digital world, it does a ton of stuff really well. It amazes me that people still write their own content or like these kinds of things. Or it amazes me that people don't use it to figure out how best to deal with a conversation with somebody, or what do people really mean when they act in a certain way, or to disseminate, is that the right word? Anyway, to take information and stuff. I saw a YouTube video the other day, which was like, this is why the 10-minute YouTube video is dead. And it was like a 53-minute YouTube video. And I've not got 53 minutes to watch that video. So I take the link, I put it through a transcription tool. I take the transcript, I put it into Claude, and I say, hey, what are the actionable points from this video? And it gives me like 100 words or 200 words with the actionable points from the video.
That's really cool.
So
that's a brilliant way to save some time, because there's so much on YouTube. A lot of it's clickbait anyway, but there's so many things that probably do have some good information, but it could be like an hour long, something like that. So you could just run it through Claude and say, hey, what can I actually do with any of this information? And probably in just like a small little paragraph, it can tell you.
Exactly that. Yeah, which is crazy, because then you don't have to spend all of those hours watching stuff and doing stuff. But there's devil in details as well. So it depends. Like, I still have audiobooks and books that I read and stuff, and I do think to myself, should I just condense all of these and put them all through AI and take out all the key points? And I don't know. They've done studies now to show that when you use AI a lot, the part of your brain that creates ideas and thought and critical thought and stuff is suppressed, massively suppressed. So it's like SatNav, isn't it? Or Google Maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you use Google Maps all the time, you never figure out which way you've got to go. And if you use AI all of the time, you're never going to be able to figure out how to solve any problems yourself.
Yeah, that's what it's becoming for a lot of people. I think we've probably all, or a lot of us, have been in a job where all of a sudden there's like a manager, or it might be a manager who's been there for years, but they just don't seem like they're good at their job. And then also you think they couldn't do any of the jobs of the people that are lower down. It seems like they wouldn't have a clue how to do this like job of an average person kind of thing. And it's almost a little bit like that with AI. If you think of AI as like a team of people and you've become the manager, and then you've just lost all your skills to do everything else, because you don't really have to solve any problems. You just tell somebody else to do it. And I think that's the problem-solving ability that we're losing.
Or are in danger of losing, certainly. And you see it in the output that people get. So, for example, as I just said, you should, if you're writing your own social media now, like, what are you doing? But that being said, if you're just going into ChatGPT and say, make me a post about this, and pressing enter, and then posting it on LinkedIn with the title in title case and the random emojis, and ever wondered about like this, like, then really it's one of those things where if you're a copywriter, you know how to persuade and you know how to write things in a way that makes people want to read it. It's the same as if I take a photo. If I come to you, Adam, and I've composed this piece of music, Adam, or I'm like, hey, I've got this magic trick, it's awesome. And I come to you and I'm like, they're the two things Adam's good at, by the way. Everything else,
nothing else.
Average at best.
Below.
But they're things that I know that you're an expert in, and I consider you an expert in. Or even video editing, right? I come to you with my edit that I've done and I'm like, hey, here's this edit. I love it. I think it's awesome. You're going to look at one of those three things and you'll be like, yeah, maybe this doesn't work with that. And in the way that music works, like, this really breaks that rule. Or there's certain things that just should be the way that they are, right?
Yeah. And why, if you got like the bass in like a major key, but then you got this weird minor key piano over the top and you got this clash? Is it meant to be that dissonant, or is it, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but I think it's great. Oh, I've used an AI tool to make it, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm just going to post it. I'm a musician now.
Yeah.
And that's what...
That's what people are doing.
Yeah, and that's what you see all the time. Unfortunately, to someone who is a copywriter and knows about persuasion, I see that and I'm like, no, why have you done this to yourself?
Yeah, because I guess there are ways to use AI to come up with some really good social media posts, but if you just ask it, then it will just do what you ask. Create me a social media post. Okay, there you go. It's a post. You can put it on social media. It's generic, very generic, because that's what I'm trained on. And that's what it'll do. It's the same if you think of slogans in advertising and things like that. The good ones are really smart. Like Guinness, they had that thing where it's a nice drink, but in a pub, they pour half of it, then leave it to settle, then pour the other half. And that was like a massive drawback. But then they brought the slogan, good things come to those who wait. It's clever on so many levels. I don't know. I think it's stuck in a lot of people's heads as well. I can still remember that from being a kid. And it's like really memorable, really smart. It solves a problem, even makes the consumer seem like they're more virtuous or have better taste and things like that. All these clever bits that went into that. If you asked an AI to do it, it wouldn't come up with anything near that.
Yeah, elevate your alcoholism.
Yeah.
Supercharge your Saturday nights.
It would be something terrible and generic like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because when that slogan comes to mind, and also other slogans that come to mind, if you look at them from the outside as somebody who's not a branding person or a marketing person, you'd be like, oh, they're simple, they're easy to come up with. They're simple, they must be easy to come up with. But their brilliance is in the fact that they're simple. And simple is always challenging to get to. It takes some balls or otherwise to be simple and to be straightforward. And that to me is the brilliance of things. And I think sometimes where people go wrong with AI is they think that it's easy, but it's really not. If you treat it easy, too easy, you just get rubbish that everyone else has got and zero memorability.
Yeah, I found with a lot of things recently to get good results, it's often required either a lot of tweaking or actually writing prompts that are like really in depth and that cover every part of it, and just actually trying to get it to do what I'm asking. I don't know. And there is an art to that.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a method of talking to it in that way. And again, it's because it will deliberately try and give you the quickest and easiest answer that it can. AI knows about every sales technique ever, every copywriting technique ever, every filmmaking technique ever, every scripting, storytelling, you name it, right? It knows all of it. But it's like a secret way. You have to know that it knows it, and you have to tell it, oh, have you heard of this person, or do you know this technique? And it's like,
oh yeah, I have actually. Yeah.
Yes, I do know that technique.
I wasn't going to mention it, but
yeah. Would you like me to use it?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
How would you like me to use it? Okay, good. What do you think about this? That's rubbish. Yes, you're right. It is rubbish. How could we improve it? Oh, think about what would persuade people more, or what would keep people hooked. Oh, excellent. Okay, I can do that. And then it gives you something better. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's mad. Have you ever, I don't know if it happens so much now because I haven't noticed it so much recently, but maybe a year ago, I'd find myself getting into these like loops of like just this black hole where you'd ask it to do something and it'd do something wrong. And or you'd be like, so why have you given me this? This isn't what I asked for. oh, I'm sorry, sometimes I can make mistakes. Here, I'll try again. And it's exactly the same or still completely wrong. You say, why have you done this? Oh, I'm sorry, don't apologize. I'm sorry for apologizing. I didn't mean to. You just like, it prints out the same thing again, but it's like completely wrong and not what you asked for.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And you have to ask it to be analytical. It's like when you're giving it feedback on something you've built, say you've got a project and you've built it with all of these data sets and this process and stuff, and it does totally the wrong thing. And you're like, why have you done this? Why have you done the total wrong thing? And it says, oh, I'm really sorry. All the instructions are super clear. Everything that's in that information is perfect. The prompt you've given me is excellent, and yet I still don't follow them. I'm sorry. Let me try again. It's no, well, I don't want excuses. I don't want apologies. I want you to actually look with an analytical mindset at what could be causing this contradiction that means that you're getting this and this. And it goes, oh, yeah, actually, it says this in this instruction and this in this instruction, and they're two totally contradicting things. I'm like, oh, why didn't you just tell me that in the first place?
Which is mad.
So maybe in some ways it's smarter than we think it is. It's just about how you unlock it. It's like the commerce angle of the fact that processing power is still quite expensive and processing is expensive, that it can be this amazing, but it's not cost effective for it to be.
It could be, yeah. So because obviously any company wants to save as much money as they can. So that could be quite a big part of it. Or the technology is just not quite there in these iterations of what we have.
It isn't capable of thought, of its own thought, of new ideas, of new thought. And I think that in the end is what's going to be the problem, because a lot of the industry relies on the fact that we need cheaper ways to process power. We need cheaper ways to produce power. Like some of the things with, and it's probably changed now, but the amount of power that you used to use to generate an image with DALL-E 3 on OpenAI was like the same amount of power that it takes to charge an iPhone.
Yeah.
Image.
I've heard different. Yeah, I've heard a few different examples like that, but they were all like a crazy amount of power just to do a few tasks.
So this is the limitation. And clearly humans have not figured out a way yet to produce power more cheaply and in a safe way that people are happy with. Well, we have nuclear, but obviously that causes a whole other list of problems and concern and whatever else. And it's almost like a chicken egg thing. Until the AI is smart enough to help us figure these things out, it will always be limited because it costs a lot of money to use and to produce. But it will always cost a lot of money to use and produce until humans figure out a cheaper way to create power. And it's like, unless behind closed doors there's an unlimited version where they just don't care and they're using that to try and run all this information. But I feel like the technology relies on it being smart enough to make all of the processes behind it more efficient.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar where we need to get to the stage where AI is actively working on things like you said, how to make power more effectively, working on the technology that it needs for chip technology and things like that. But I guess a lot of that, it can probably help make things more efficient. But when it comes to the creative breakthroughs, it's probably not going to be doing that so much.
Yeah.
Because generally that's going to take some genius human scientist or whatever to go, oh, I've just thought of this thing. Let's try this. And they'd have to be telling the AI. It's probably unlikely that AI itself will come up with these solutions.
Certainly not in the method of being an LLM, because the LLMs and even from a data scientist machine learning side of things, it's like it can only learn based on the information and the data that it's given, and then it finds the most logical mathematical pattern to give a response to that query. So I guess it could be like, oh, here's all the potential ways that this might work. Go and test all 100 of them, and there might be like 10 ideas in there that the human never thought of. Oh, actually, yeah, maybe that and that does make sense or whatever, but it's in its current iteration and even unlimited, so you can use it and it always uses as many tokens as it wants to answer the query. It's still limited by the fact that it can't think.
Yeah. Then it seems like it's going to be a long time until we're going to be at that level where we have something that actually can think. And I guess the whole term, when we say artificial intelligence, it makes us think of something else. It makes us think of like a sentient being that's having thoughts and abstracting and all these different things. And the truth is, it is a little bit, but it's not. It's something completely different.
Yeah. And again, this is where I go back to that point of it's not as smart as people think it is. Because I think most people, particularly those that don't use it very often, believe that it's already at that point where it's having its own unique thoughts and thinking of solutions and coming across that it's got all this great information and insight and knowledge that humans don't already have. I personally just think that it's a much better way of accessing information than the internet was. It's like the next step on the internet. All of this information was there in the internet before, but you just had to go through this annoying, laborious process to search for it, to find it, to get it.
Have 7 different tabs open. We check out some information. That's bullshit. What? And you try and find...
you have to read this, and then you have to try and bring it all together and crunch it, and then turn it into an output. Like all of that stuff, it can do, but it's not. It's that part is still super useful. Of course it is. But then there's also the angle of we use it to do preparation for, or you do, and then send me the preparation sometimes. And I occasionally look myself at things where it's like, here's the rough things to talk about in the podcast episode. But if me and you followed an exact script and tempo and layout of what the AI gave us, it would be the most boring 1 hour to listen to ever.
Yeah. And it'd be completely generic, and there'd be no flow to it, nothing natural about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that it's good in a way, though, but it seems to be getting smarter than it was, or it doesn't do those things so much. Where if it before, maybe a year ago, if it didn't have the information, it would just improvise. So there was the classic thing where someone asked, I think it was Gemini, how many rocks should I eat every day to be healthy? And it goes, 1 rock a day should be fine. It's a vital source of minerals and vitamins. There was another one where they asked Gemini, I don't know how it came up with this answer, but it recommended that you should put glue in the sauce that goes on pizza because that'll help hold the cheese on.
Yeah. And hallucinations are a thing. It definitely does do that. And it's also, I think, because it's been programmed by humans, it has these human flaws and problems that cause some of this as well. There was the story about the guy, and it was a deliberate test, but there was the guy at Claude, which I mentioned before, where it's like they've told it and given it access to emails about him having an affair with his wife. Even more topical right now with the whole thing, the world's going crazy with that guy getting caught on kids camp, which I don't understand. So I'm either too old or I don't know why that's such a big deal. Is it not more embarrassing to get caught at a Coldplay concert?
That would be you just have to hang your head in shame, and you'd know that most of your friends and family will never speak to you again, not because of your behavior, just because of where you were.
Especially in 2025. don't get me wrong, first album comes out, they're at a festival at Glastonbury and you go and watch them on a Sunday afternoon. I can dig that, but in 2025 nobody's got any excuse for going and listening to Coldplay live, and they look like they were enjoying themselves,
which is so much worse.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just not as far ahead as where people say it is. It's super useful for businesses. It's really useful for digital marketers. If you're not using it now in the digital world or in any kind of marketing that you do online, you should be. And my link is in the comments for booking a call with me to find out how. Joking. But it's not where the hype says that it is. And the process of, oh, it's going to take everyone's jobs and all of this stuff. Yeah, I'm sure jobs will reduce. I'm sure people that used to do direct marketing and direct mail into your house lost their jobs when the internet came out. But also then there was SEO people. And before Google, there was no search engines. So there was no search engine optimization. There was no ads. How much is the online advertising industry worth? Billions of dollars that didn't exist before. And the same will be true for people that are working in call centers now. There will be some other role or some other job that is required that will replace what's already there right now.
Yeah, or we hope so.
Yeah, I know you're skeptical. I know you're skeptical. I get it. And I understand it. But I think everybody would have felt the same in the internet when the .com stuff came out. And everybody would have felt the same when they invented the wheel. And everybody would have felt the same when steam engines were first invented. And, oh, what am I going to do now? They don't need me to carry barrows around London and whatever else. You might get a job as a taxi driver or whatever. There's always a need for those kinds of things. And I believe there always will be a need for those things.
Yeah, I think the only thing is it becomes difficult when you see that AI is so good at just doing, like we said earlier, repetitive tasks. So if you have a kind of job where it's highly repetitive, doesn't take much thinking, then...
What have you done with your life?
Yeah, you're a disgrace.
You deserve to be replaced.
But it's true. And that can be all kinds of things. That can be people in the legal system. That can be, I don't know, radiographers, all kinds of different like jobs that have that repetitive nature. A lot of them can be really easily replaced by AI very soon, I would think.
Yeah.
And it's just, okay, what's the alternative? Everyone goes into highly creative jobs. It sounds nice, but...
Yeah, but I just think logistically, again, it's the same thing. That there's a logistical barrier to all of this stuff. If it was just the case that you could press the button and go, then certainly that would be happening straight away. But for hospitals in the UK, for example, to start using an AI technology for radiographers, it's got to go through the government. It's got to get approved by the government. Then they've got to approve it through radiographers. Then it's going to go through university and they're going to have to train people on it. And that just isn't going to happen in 6 months. It's just, there's no way. The bottleneck, even if AI is as good as what everyone says it is, the bottleneck will be humanity itself.
And all the regulations that come along with it.
Yeah, and it's, if a human radiographer misses cancer and somebody dies, it's a big deal. If an AI radiographer misses something and somebody dies, it's an even bigger deal. Because people understand that humans make mistakes. But if you replace a human with a machine, people expect it to be 10, 100, whatever times more accurate. It's like we already live in a world where robotic self-driving cars would have less accidents than humans and less people would die. But it's not a magnitude big enough that people would accept a robot car killing their dad or their uncle or whatever. It's just, we're not there yet.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And if something like that happened, say you've got like a Tesla that's self-driving or kills somebody, that would be major news. Whereas just a human on a bad day runs someone over, that's not as big a deal.
Local news, if you're lucky, if it's somebody that knows somebody or they've got a few followers on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, so I guess again that's an interesting point to bring us to a close, is that it's not that maybe AI isn't smart enough yet, it's that humans are not smart enough or prepared enough to implement what's there. And unless we're thinking, oh, AI is just going to take over all of it and then do it itself, okay, I still can't see that happening in the next 5 years or 10 years, to be honest. Like, they don't even teach children in school about how to use AI. Donald Trump just signed a bill for it to be in education. It's not, that will still take 12 months or more for them to build curriculums and agree curriculums and budget it and put it. It's just not going to happen tomorrow.
And the thing is, it's probably as important learning to use AI as it is learning how to use a pen, because you'd think in the future that's going to be something you're going to need a lot.
Yeah, like how long did it take them to start teaching coding in schools? It's probably been 5 years that they do a light touch in one IT lesson every 2 weeks. And now coding's been replaced by AI. So it's not, I think the bottleneck will be humans. Really. It's like, how do you implement all of this? Can you imagine in like the bottom south corner of Cameroon, where they're still like walking 10 miles every day to get some water? AI just doesn't mean anything to anything there. Like, they're like, we've had roads for 100 years and we still haven't got any. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it is exactly like that. So although the technology's really moving at just this crazy exponential rate in many respects, it's just not going to be able to be rolled out in a way that's going to be as life-changing as we would have thought, perhaps.
At least not as quickly, because it's logistical. Like, for example, Amazon used to order from it takes 7 days to get to your house. And then now it takes 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that's logistical. And at the end of the day, unless someone's going to suddenly go and produce 8 billion different types of robot to go and do all of that, again, it's possible, of course, but it's a resource problem. It's then where do the factories come from? Who's going to work in those factories before we have robots to build their own robots? So maybe that's what's going to happen, call center people. You're all going to go and work in factories making robots that will eventually be good enough to make themselves, and then you'll get made redundant.
That seems like a good, happy, positive note to end it on.
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you've got this far through today, give us a subscribe, hit the bell. We love it when you hit the bell. And next week, we're going to be talking about food and nutrition, I believe.
Sounds like a good idea. Feeling pretty hungry myself.
Yeah, food, nutrition, what we eat, what we don't eat, the fads, what works, fasting, you name it, we're covering it. And we might even eat some food during the episode.
Yeah, I might as well give it that laid back vibe.
So join us next time for the temporally scripted picnic. And as always, Adam, thank you very much.
Yeah, see you next time.